Welcome back to the channel, coin collectors and treasure hunters. Today, we're uncovering two of the rarest and most valuable United States Washington quarter-dollar coins that could be hiding in everyday pocket change. One of these coins might be worth far more than its face value, so stay with us until the end. You won't want to miss these incredible discoveries. First coin 1982 Lincoln Memorial Cent begins one of the most fascinating chapters in modern American coin collecting, because 1982 is a transitional year for the U.S. Mint, with both copper and copper-plated zinc coins minted, creating a situation unlike almost any other Lincoln cent before it. What appears to be an ordinary penny can actually belong to one of several different combinations of metal composition, mint location, and date style, turning pocket change into an exciting historical puzzle. Every surviving example tells the story of a nation responding to rising copper prices while trying to preserve the familiar look of America's most recognizable coin, making the 1982 cent a bridge between two different eras of U.S. coinage. The economic pressure behind this transition was impossible for the United States Mint to ignore. Copper had become increasingly expensive, and producing cents with nearly solid copper composition was approaching the point where manufacturing costs challenged practicality. Rather than changing the appearance dramatically, the Mint quietly introduced copper-plated zinc planchets while still striking copper alloy pieces during the transition. This overlap created multiple collectible varieties in the same year, leaving generations of collectors fascinated by the mystery hidden beneath nearly identical surfaces. At first glance, every 1982 Lincoln Memorial Cent seems familiar. Abraham Lincoln's portrait remains steady on the obverse with "Liberty, in God we trust," and the date surrounding the design, while the reverse proudly displays the Lincoln Memorial. Yet subtle clues separate ordinary coins from scarcer varieties. The tone of the metal, the sharpness of Lincoln's profile, the depth of the lettering, and even the shape of individual numerals can reveal important differences that most people never notice during everyday transactions. Collectors often describe 1982 as a detective's dream because it contains multiple officially recognized varieties, including large date and small date designs struck on different compositions at different mints. These combinations transformed a single calendar year into an extraordinary collecting challenge. Many people unknowingly spent or stored these coins, without realizing they represented one of the most unusual production periods in the history of the Lincoln cent, adding excitement every time another forgotten jar of pennies is opened. The Denver and Philadelphia mints both participated in this remarkable transition, producing enormous quantities of cents while adapting to changing production methods. Amid that massive output, occasional striking inconsistencies, planchet mix-ups, and die characteristics slipped through quality control. Although most coins are common, the right combination of variety, preservation, and unusual minting characteristics can elevate an otherwise ordinary cent into something collectors eagerly pursue for years. One of the greatest attractions surrounding 1982 cents is the possibility of discovering unexpected combinations. Specialists carefully examine date size, mint mark presence, metal composition, and striking quality because every detail matters. Even experienced collectors continue searching through old collections, estate holdings, and bank rolls, knowing that remarkable discoveries occasionally appear decades after the coins first entered circulation. Visual appearance alone can offer the first clues. Copper alloy examples usually display a warmer reddish-brown tone, while copper-plated zinc cents often develop different patterns of wear as the thin copper coating ages. Some coins retain brilliant original mint luster, reflecting light with remarkable intensity, while others reveal decades of circulation that soften the design but still preserve valuable diagnostic features. These subtle differences encourage collectors to slow down and observe rather than simply glance. Errors and unusual striking characteristics add another layer of excitement. Die cracks, off-center strikes, minor misalignments, filled dies, and occasional doubling can transform an otherwise ordinary example into a conversation piece. Genuine doubled letters or numbers require careful examination because machine doubling and ordinary wear can easily fool inexperienced collectors. Every unusual feature deserves patience, magnification, and comparison before any conclusions are reached. Imagine discovering a forgotten roll of 1982 cents tucked inside an old desk drawer inherited from a relative. What looked like nothing more than spare change suddenly becomes a collection filled with possibilities. That emotional moment is exactly why collectors remain captivated by transitional coins. The excitement comes not only from potential value, but from realizing history has been quietly waiting inside something almost everyone overlooks every single day. Illustrative market stories often begin modestly. A minor but collectible variety with attractive preservation might inspire values around $2,500 to $3,500 in exceptional circumstances, never as a guarantee, but as an example of how collectors sometimes reward scarcity and quality. For many families, that could represent a meaningful financial boost, perhaps helping with a vacation, paying important bills, or even contributing toward a down payment on a home after a remarkable discovery. As the ladder of possibilities rises, especially attractive high-grade examples have occasionally inspired discussions around $5,000, while unusual mint anomalies may encourage illustrative comparisons near $6,000 when authenticated and strongly desired by collectors. Rare collector pieces with compelling characteristics can spark conversations around $7,500, reminding everyone that condition, authenticity, rarity, and demand always work together before meaningful premiums ever appear. Continue climbing the storytelling ladder, and exceptionally preserved or uncommon examples sometimes inspire illustrative figures around $8,000, while unusual discoveries supported by strong collector demand may approach $8,500 in the right circumstances. Extraordinary or historically significant examples occasionally fuel discussions reaching up to $9,000, but these numbers are examples rather than promises, reflecting how competitive bidding and rarity can influence individual auction outcomes rather than guaranteeing future prices. Responsible examination remains the most important step before celebrating any exciting find. Copper alloy cents generally weigh about 3.11 grams, while copper-plated zinc examples weigh about 2.5 grams, making a precise digital scale one of the most valuable tools a collector can own. Compare the metal color carefully. Inspect strike alignment from both sides. Study the rim for unusual thickness or irregular shape, and examine every letter and number under magnification for authentic doubling, rather than damage caused after the coin left the mint. Professional authentication becomes essential whenever a coin appears unusually valuable or displays characteristics that seem extraordinary. Third-party grading services can confirm authenticity, identify genuine varieties, evaluate condition, and provide confidence for buyers and sellers alike. Without expert verification, even impressive-looking coins can be misunderstood, while truly important discoveries deserve the documentation necessary to preserve both their historical significance and potential collector appeal. The enduring fascination of the 1982 Lincoln Memorial Cent lies in its perfect combination of history, mystery, and accessibility. Unlike legendary rarities locked away in museums or elite collections, these coins still occasionally appear in inherited jars, forgotten piggy banks, old cash registers, and rolls from local banks. Every ordinary-looking cent carries the possibility of surprising its owner, proving that remarkable stories sometimes hide inside the smallest pieces of everyday currency. 1982 Lincoln Memorial Cent continues reminding collectors that incredible discoveries rarely announce themselves with flashing lights or dramatic fanfare. They wait quietly in drawers, coffee cans, family collections, and loose change until someone curious decides to look just a little closer. And if this remarkable transitional penny can conceal such astonishing secrets beneath its humble appearance, imagine what the next seemingly ordinary American coin might reveal when we uncover its unbelievable story. Second coin, 1992 Lincoln Memorial Cent 6.3. Looks like one of the most ordinary pennies ever struck, yet beneath its familiar portrait and everyday appearance lies one of the most fascinating chapters in modern American coin collecting. Because this single year quietly produced coins that continue to spark debates, fuel treasure hunts, and inspire collectors to search through forgotten jars, old coffee cans, inherited collections, and bank rolls with renewed excitement. Proving that even a coin worth only 1 cent at face value can become the center of an unforgettable story, when the smallest manufacturing detail separates an ordinary example from one that captures the attention of experts around the world. The year 1992 arrived during an era when the United States Mint had already transitioned to copper-plated zinc planchets after the metal changes of the early 1980s, giving these cents a lightweight construction with a thin copper coating over a zinc core. Yet despite this modern composition, the Mint continued refining dies, lettering, spacing, and production techniques, creating an environment where tiny differences could unexpectedly become legendary among collectors years later, especially after specialists noticed subtle design variations that escaped the attention of millions of people who handled these coins every single day. At first glance, the coin seems completely ordinary, displaying Abraham Lincoln's timeless portrait on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. But the closer someone studies the surfaces, the more personality begins to emerge through the warm copper color, the texture of the fields, the sharpness of Lincoln's profile, the spacing of the inscriptions, and the crisp architectural details of the memorial, reminding collectors that beauty often hides inside details too small for casual observers to appreciate, until magnification reveals an entirely different world. Among the greatest sources of fascination surrounding the 1992 Lincoln Memorial Cent is the famous close AM reverse variety, where the letters A and M in the word America appear unusually close together, instead of showing the wider spacing expected for regular circulation strikes, a seemingly tiny difference that transformed an overlooked circulation coin into one of the most discussed modern Lincoln cents, proving once again that remarkable rarity sometimes depends on millimeters rather than dramatic visual changes visible to the naked eye. The mystery becomes even more captivating when collectors imagine how such varieties may have entered circulation unnoticed, mixed with billions of ordinary cents, traveling through grocery stores, vending machines, cash registers, and piggy banks for years before anyone realized that one tiny design difference could completely change the coin's importance, allowing remarkable survivors to hide in plain sight, while countless people unknowingly spent them without giving the smallest thought to what rested in the palm of their hands. Beyond the famous variety, experienced collectors also study strike quality, die wear, possible doubled lettering, die cracks, off-center strikes, broad strikes, clip planchets, rotated dies, and other mint anomalies that occasionally escaped quality control, because every production year creates opportunities for unusual mistakes. And while most examples remain common, a genuinely dramatic error paired with outstanding preservation can transform an ordinary cent into a conversation piece worthy of professional examination and long-term collector interest. Condition plays an equally important role because modern Lincoln cents often circulated heavily before anyone considered saving them, leaving scratches, discoloration, worn high points, rim nicks, and contact marks that dramatically reduce collector appeal, while brilliant uncirculated examples with vibrant original surfaces, sharp details, and strong luster become increasingly difficult to locate decades after their release, especially when preserved without fingerprints. Environmental damage or improper cleaning. That growing scarcity in top condition creates an emotional journey for collectors who patiently inspect hundreds or even thousands of coins, hopping for the single piece that stands apart from the rest. Because every roll opened carries the possibility of revealing a forgotten survivor untouched since leaving the mint. And every discovery reminds people that history often waits quietly inside, objects everyone else dismisses as ordinary pocket change. When conversations turn toward value, imagination naturally follows, but responsible collecting requires understanding that prices depend on authenticity, rarity, condition, market demand, certification, and buyer interest rather than hopes alone. So any figures discussed should always be viewed as illustrative possibilities instead of promises, because no coin automatically reaches a particular value simply because it shares the same date. A minor but desirable variety, an attractive high-grade survivor, or a collectible example with subtle characteristics might inspire illustrative market discussions ranging from about $2,500 to $3,500 under favorable circumstances. And while such outcomes are never guaranteed, the thought that a single cent could potentially represent the value of a substantial vacation or a meaningful financial milestone explains why so many collectors continue searching with unwavering determination. Move another step higher on the storytelling ladder, and exceptionally preserved examples, or unusual mint anomalies, sometimes inspire illustrative conversations around $5,000, or approximately $6,000 when rarity, eye appeal, and certification align in remarkable ways, creating the kind of unexpected windfall that feels almost impossible, until an expert confirms that an overlooked coin possesses characteristics few others can match. As collector demand grows for especially elusive pieces, rare collector favorites may inspire illustrative discussions near $7,500, while exceptionally preserved or uncommon examples occasionally encourage conversations around $8,000, reminding enthusiasts that patience, knowledge, and careful examination often matter far more than luck alone, especially when decades of circulation have already eliminated countless potential survivors. Even more exciting are unusual discoveries that attract especially strong collector demand, where illustrative market discussions sometimes approach $8,500, and in truly extraordinary or historically significant situations, remarkable certified examples have inspired conversations reaching up to $9,000, amounts that could resemble a down payment on a home or represent a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. Yet every collector should remember that such outcomes are exceptional, highly dependent on authentication and market conditions, and never guaranteed. Anyone examining a 1992 Lincoln Memorial cent should begin with the basics by checking its weight, since a normal copper-plated zinc cent should weigh about 2.5 grams, while unusual weight differences deserve closer investigation. Then study the overall metal color for signs of altered surfaces. Inspect the rim for uniform shape. Evaluate strike alignment to ensure the designs are properly positioned. Examine every letter under magnification for possible doubling. And carefully compare the spacing of the A and M in America with trusted reference images before reaching any conclusions. Professional authentication remains one of the most important steps in the entire collecting process because cleaned coins, damaged pieces, altered surfaces, and misleading online claims can easily confuse even experienced hobbyists, whereas recognized grading specialists use precise equipment, years of expertise, and detailed examination to determine whether a coin truly possesses a valuable variety, a legitimate mint error, exceptional preservation, or simply an appearance that resembles something much rarer than it actually is. 1992 Lincoln Memorial Cent 6.3 continues to remind collectors that astonishing treasures do not always glitter like gold or hide inside museum displays, because sometimes they wait silently inside a forgotten coin jar, an old family drawer, or the loose change received after buying a morning coffee. And just when you think every remarkable penny has already been found, another unbelievable discovery emerges to rewrite the story. While the next shocking coin may already be sitting unnoticed in someone's pocket, waiting for the moment that changes everything forever.